Well, here we are in phase three, and we're going to be looking at strategies for negotiations. Okay, so let's look at some of the situational factors that influence negotiations. Um, we have different types of situational and individual factors that impact negotiations because, as we said earlier, information is really critical to the success of any negotiation. Also, the more information, the more resources, the better the negotiation that both parties can look at. They can look at them in an unbiased way. If you look at table 10-2 of your book, it has interest, issues, and positions of negotiation. And the first is interest, the second is issues, the third is positions. And let's look at interest first. Interests don't have a quantitative element attached to it. It's more qualitative in nature because it's motivational. So why am I interested in this negotiation? And the book points out it's a chance to learn new skills or gain experience, serve the community or society at large, improve one's standard of living, and achieve success and fame. Okay, then we move down to issues. What's on the negotiation table that we can talk about now that we don't have to table? So, would these items interest the other person? In other words, do we take a personal interest in what they want, or do we only look at what we want? That can make the negotiation pretty unstable if we're only looking at serving our best interests. Okay, if you're talking about negotiating a contract with an employee, is it salary, price, bonuses, benefits, that type of thing. And one of the positions that we take, and the example that's used here in this table, is that you need specific outcomes. Okay? What do we both agree on? Salary, rights, final say in creative decisions, a bonus if a project is completed earlier than expected. Like, what are the terms of the negotiation? And most importantly, how do they benefit both parties? So your book talks about individual factors such as age, gender, race, or emotional expressiveness, overconfidence, personality, values, and cognitive framing can also play a pivotal role in the negotiation. So the thing is, we are looking at things that will obviously impact the negotiation that are more personal and less based on the outcome. In other words, here we can talk about entitlement. I'm entitled to this because of this reason. I got a great resume. I've proven myself in the past. I think I can give this to you, but I need you to trust me and give me the salary I'm looking for. That's why I'm making the move. I think you get the point. So the idea is, if you're only looking again at that me thing, what are you looking at the other side? The other side is seeing how what you will bring to the table will benefit them. So we talked about cognitive framing and how an issue is perceived. How you look at things isn't necessarily the way the other party looks at it. And the idea is, as you know, we talked earlier about the time value line, you only have a certain amount of time to get by each of these personal factors that impact the unbiased, unemotional factors that give you a favorable outcome. So, in successful negotiations, interests need to be put on the table ahead of time. And again, to go back to square one, you have to agree on mutual interests that you will at least talk about them. But don't be too rigid. Don't also be prejudging. Put all the elements you want to discuss on the table and then break each one of those elements down and agree to table some that you can't agree on now and address those that you can. Because here again, time is money. Money is a value. But time is something you can't control, only acknowledge. So these are the types of things that are really important. So the process of negotiation, all right, includes biased, subjective criteria. Avoid doing a lot of negotiation by email when you can. Face to face is always the best. Because what you say in the email isn't necessarily the way you want it to come out. And that could really put your negotiation behind the eight ball. So when negotiators, and I'm on page 356 of your book, but when negotiators fail to secure the results that they want, there is an alternative that helps to anchor negotiations. And if both parties can't agree during the negotiation process, you want to go to what's called the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, better known as BATNA, BATNA, BATNA. And it describes another option that a negotiator could take. For example, if you can't get the price that you want, as it says here, in a good car or used car, your BATNA would be to continue the research and continue to drive your old car until you come up with a solution. There are some things that you just need to table. But if you can get most of what you want out of the way, the other side would be worth sleeping on for a night and then going back to it the next day or when you next meet. Okay, this is the end of Wednesday's lecture, and go on to Thursday's DQs.